What's up, everybody? It is Monday. We're back from a weekend, although it feels like we should be going into one, at least for Bro and I.
Yeah.
Tired. Tired, America. We're tired. We
Awesome.
old. We old and tired.
Mhm.
Or we tired
You're
of being
old.
old. Which one is it?
That's
He say
ageism.
now, all the time he talking backstage about how I'm so tired. I'm so tired. Now you're trying to act all brave.
No, I said I'm tired.
Now he's
tired,
trying to be
boss.
all brave. Nick,
I'm
come
just
on.
tired, boss.
I'm
I see it's tired.
Let me get Facebook Live going. There we go. You should be live now. Facebook, you should be available. Now, we got some stuff to discuss, people. The fires in Los Angeles. I'm going to put my 2 cents on the board early so that people are not confused about my viewpoint. What I might be, my take on this might be a little calloused. And I will tell you why it's calloused. And if you don't like the reasons for me being callous, then that's okay.
Mhm.
Just know that your disgruntlement with my callousness is not going to change my callousness. I'm convinced that the people there in Cali got exactly what they voted for.
I second that emotion.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I can't get mad at nobody. This is what they say was priority. So if it's your priority, why should I be upset about the results of your priority decisions, right?
Indeed.
So if houses are lost and lives are lost and all that stuff, if they don't care, I can't help you. Remember, you also told us to keep our thoughts and prayers. So we're going to do exactly that. I'm not sending you no thoughts or prayers. You said you don't want them. They don't work.
And don't they have and they have insurance anyways?
Oh, yeah.
they don't.
Yeah. Well, that's what they say.
I mean, that's what
That's what they like to say about places that they burn down, right? They got
Yeah.
insurance.
Well, no,
I mean,
just-
it's
Go
the
ahead,
same thing, when looters rob a place or tear
That's what
down. Oh, they have insurance. They have insurance. Yeah.
Why am I
Yeah,
being-
they don't have
Walgreens has insurance for all the people that rob their stores, right?
Yeah, I mean, hey.
See,
They say the same thing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
hey,
look,
you gotta-
I remember a few months ago, these are the same people that were celebrating that all of these MAGA places were underwater and
Yeah.
washed away and people died. And they were
Thank
like,
you.
yeah, that's great. I'm glad that happened to you.
and
Yeah.
that's what you get for being red, right? A red state.
Yeah. That's what
So-
you get for being
And
racist.
that's what you get for being a blue state. You get
God's
what you vote for.
punishment, right?
So let's
I gotta
let's
find that
listen
clip,
to
oh,
them.
man.
Let's listen to them as to what their
You find that one.
viewpoints are about exactly that. Because I don't want you to take my word for it. Because
Mhm.
if you get mad at me for saying that, just perhaps keep that same energy for the people you decided were worthy of putting
No,
on the
not
fire department.
No, not perhaps. Bring the same energy.
No. I want to give them an out. Because I know they're gonna find one and say, "Well, that's different."
Okay, you're right about that.
Here's your
What is
man
that?
or woman or the thing.
Right.
You know the
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
The thing.
You know the
The
thing.
thing.
Now,
Missed her.
missed her. Now I missed her being on the ground at the fires.
Yeah.
She can't afford to get that crisply ironed uniform dirty with soot. However, I am not the one that doesn't care about you dying. That's not me. I am simply agreeing with the person that you hired to be on your fire department. Okay? Are we clear on that? Did I stutter? I want to make sure I'm clear on what I'm saying. I completely agree with her.
And just to be
Oh,
clear, this is a DEI hire. correct?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I wanted to preface this. All of LAPD is run, not LAPD, but LAFD is run by
Things
women.
like this. Mhm.
I just want
Yes.
to I want to preface that the four
Yeah.
major positions in the fire department are run by women, and
Gay
a
women.
lesbian at that.
Gay
Yeah.
women, yes.
Not that it has
Yeah.
anything to do with their credibility. I'm just saying
No, it does.
they
It has
are.
everything to do with their credibility.
This-
Yeah,
this
kind of
is
reminds
fact.
me of BLM.
Same time.
A little bit, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't it
Just say it,
ironic
yeah.
though? Is it not ironic that BLM also lost their home? Anyway, but I
Yeah.
digress.
You mean the money that she used from
Right.
donations to buy the
Yes.
homes that just
Yes.
burned
Yeah.
down? Yeah.
The money's now used properly for
Yes.
smoke and fodder. Anyway, but hear what she has to say about Californians who are stuck in the fire. Again, not me. I'm just the agreeer.
You want to see somebody that responds to your house, your emergency, whether it's a medical call or a fire call, that looks like you. It gives that person a little bit more ease, knowing that somebody might understand their situation better. Is she strong enough to do this? Or you couldn't carry my husband out of a fire, which my response is, he got himself in the wrong place if I have to carry him out of a fire.
I get. Maybe she wouldn't have got assaulted if she wasn't wearing that dress, right?
Sounds
right,
an awful lot like
Right.
Ooh. Hey,
Maybe if he wasn't stupid enough to get himself in a fire.
I don't understand how someone will react differently pretty much if someone came in there that looked like you. If my house was on fire and a white guy came and kicked in my door to save me, I wouldn't turn him away because he was white, because he didn't look like me. You don't understand my suffrage. Get the black guy in here. Get the black guy in here.
No. What should happen for Michael is
What
like
the
he kick
hell?
open the door. There's a light shining behind him, and you can just hear, "Can you take me higher?" That's what's happening. That's what he wants to have happen to him.
Yeah.
If a dude's coming to save him, he wants a big Nordic man who is
To
over
save him.
6'3" to come take his ass away, like carry him like he's a bride. That's what he wants.
Yeah.
My question is this.
I don't care who it is.
Here's
Just
my question,
give me
and
that
I
house.
hope somebody on the panel can answer it. Okay.
Mhm.
Now, to your point, Coy, and it's a very valid point. As hilarious as it was a very valid point.
True.
Are they now insinuating, hear me out, that if something bad happens to you, you are responsible for placing yourself there? Moreover, you're placed in the procedures to be responsible to get yourself out of it. Not
Yeah.
the people who are tasked with the problem that you might be in. It's on you. Now, are they going to take that same approach to violations to women who might be on the streets and a crazy man violates them? Do you think they might take the same approach?
No.
No.
What do you want them to be intellectually consistent?
I don't know.
If you want them to be consistent, then they would say the exact same thing.
Yeah.
It's like, well, maybe if you weren't a hoe things wouldn't happen to you.
Yeah. And the thing is, her statement was probably only geared towards one specific race of people.
Yeah, we know that. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. It's just throwing it out
That's
there.
apparent.
Yeah.
She had
Exactly,
a picture in
Reese.
her mind.
It's on you. You live there, which is what I said at the beginning. I don't feel too badly because your people that you hired don't feel too badly. If you're stuck in the fire and you happen to be a dude and she can't lift you.
Here's another good example of how you know it's a stupid statement to make in the first place. Well, maybe if you didn't live in the hood, then your kid wouldn't get shot.
I mean,
But that was more true than the fire.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying.
I don't
you're
live
still
in a
blaming
I don't
the
purposely
victim
light my
for
house
being
on fire.
shot.
But I don't
Yeah.
purposely light my house on fire, hoping for the fire department to show up. See, that's the difference.
Right?
You see the
there is
difference
another
here?
theory.
Okay.
Of the reasons for the fires. I don't know if you've seen this viral clip of this guy who is the stereotypical Mexican Californian.
one of those.
Yeah, no, it's hilarious. But here, listen to this. He has the very pertinent questions.
Yes, I can hear you. So the family with the poor little girl who was
Fire happening right now.
say that again.
Why is there fire happening right now?
There are multiple fires that are taking place. Yeah,
Serious?
yeah, yeah.
It's the news though. You're supposed to know.
Well, I don't know how it started. We don't know how it started. There,
I think
winds.
it's all the gay people in LA.
Oh, okay.
There we go.
Unacceptable. Gina,
Unacceptable. Unacceptable,
Did
sir.
you say it was
That
because
is
of all the gay
unacceptable.
people in LA?
he did.
Hey, that's what happens when you do live interviews. That was perfect. That was how Americans should always act.
Wait,
Do you
Say
remember
what's
the
on your
guy?
chest.
they can't dog him.
No,
They can't
they
dog
can't.
him because if you do, you're racist.
Yep.
It's true, but he sounds like your stereotypical like Mexican in California,
there a
like
fire?
Southern California.
As a Californian, no.
Why is there a fire? Well,
But it reminds me of that guy that went around. That was like the news camera's like worst nightmare. Where that guy with the sunglasses, you always say that certain phrase that you can't really say.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, I love that guy.
why
Shit
is
was
there a fire?
hilarious.
Well, fires happen because of that. And you know what the weird thing is? The government will give him a stupid answer like that. I'd be like, see, Ukraine is a smaller country. Russia's a big-
Next to a bigger country.
You see, there's this thing called the cloud, right? And that's where all the things go is into the cloud.
You know, like a train that goes down, you know, this thing called train tracks, and it goes choo choo, and it goes down the tracks and it puts smoke out. And that's what we call a train.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. it's
Oh
train.
man, but the excuses have already started to
Oh,
not just come forward, but also there are a bunch of these politicians that have said some stuff that have people now questioning whether or not they were being honest, like this one.
This was supposed to be the water to put out the Palisades fire. This is the Santa Ynez Reservoir. It's the water supply basically for the Palisades. When they first started fighting the Palisades fire, they ran out of water extremely quickly. Wednesday, 3 a.m., they were basically out. And there's been a lot of talk on why this happened. So how long has this reservoir been empty for?
Since February of last year, there was no communication from the Department of Water and Power to LAFD that there was a water supply issue.
The firefighters, when they started fighting the fires, no one informed them that the reservoir was empty.
This reservoir holds 117 million gallons of water. The fire department was using a water supply from 3 backup tanks, each one only holding 1 million gallons of water.
They say it's closed for maintenance to repair the lid that's on top of it. I don't know a lot about reservoir maintenance, but there's literally no construction materials or vehicles anywhere in sight. Also, with a reservoir
none
like
at
this,
anybody.
you can refill it or start to refill it. So another question is, if they saw the Santa Ana winds were coming and we have this remarkably dry wet season, why was there no attempt to start refilling it back up? I know I threw a lot out there, but I think we need
Good question.
some answers, guys.
Yes, you do.
Some real
Yeah.
answers.
I
But
completely
he's right.
concur.
He's right, because like one of the things about that is that they've known this has been a problem. They've known they've been out of water and all of these reservoirs since, he said, in February of last year. They knew it was empty. They also passed legislation 10 years ago to build more reservoirs in case of an emergency like this, and not a single one of them have been built with the billions of dollars that they have sent for that specific project has been used to do that. They also wasted $21 billion on homelessness, by the way, in
And
California.
there's still homeless people everywhere.
And there's still a lot. This is the timeline of the fire that CBS released. And I wanted people to understand the kind of the gravity of the massive scale that this fire actually is.
Here have put together this incredible animation that shows the timeline of how this fire advanced through the communities of Pacific Palisades and Malibu. Here it is, January 7th at 6:17. It was at 2,900 acres. And then on January 8th, that explosion to 15,000 acres. And then the next day, 17,000 acres as it progressed into the mountains. And then on the 9th, 19,000 acres. And you can see how far it had gotten into Malibu. And then we come to yesterday at 20,000 acres. And you can see 20 and then to 21,000 acres. But you see how far across it spread, and all the way up to the 11th, which is today at 22,660 acres. This is just information from 7:30 a.m. today. We in the newsroom here have...
So that was a day ago, and it's still going. It's only 11% contained as of reporting from this morning. It's still raging. It's almost been a week, and the fire is still going, and they have none of it contained.
I don't think their plan is to contain it. I have my conspiracy brain on today, and I don't believe in no ways is they trying to contain no fires. I think they're trying to make sure certain spots burn real good, though.
Yep.
Yeah,
that's what I think.
It comes down to the incompetence of the California Democrats, because the state's run by
this guy.
Democrats, man. Yeah.
Oh, that's so weird. That was a great segue. Like you almost knew where I was going to go with that.
Perfect.
Because that's exactly what it is. Because everybody wants to blame. I'll get to it in a minute after we do blaming the politicians. But people want to blame the insurance companies. But the insurance companies are not responsible for all of this damage. Like a private company is not responsible for what the government was supposed to be doing.
They're all in it. So I blame
it is
them.
true that Trump talked to Newsom back in 18 about the same problem that they refused to address even in 2018. And he also spoke to him before this thing kicked off that, hey, this is also a problem. So no, it's not that Newsom contacted Trump. Trump had already told Newsom exactly what was and what wasn't. And he is a ignorant, smooth-brained monkey, and he did not want to listen. So he spends more money on his hair than he does his intelligence. Listen to this.
I want to know the answers.
Oh, you do?
So I'm the governor of California. I want to know the answer. I've got that question. I can't tell you about how many people, what happened.
Oh,
my own team saying what happened, and I want to get the answers. And I'll be candid with you, wasn't getting straight answers.
Yeah.
I watched the press conference. I met with some of those leaders. We had my team start talking to local leaders, saying what's going on. Our state.
And you weren't getting straight answers.
I was getting different answers. When you start getting different answers, then I'm not getting the actual story. And they're assessing it. And I get that as well. You have to have a little bit of grace, back to the point. We're in this emergency environment and everything else. So I just want to determine the facts. But no one has any patience anymore. In this weaponized, back to the grievance of Trump, everyone else, there's immediacy. And lies travel the proverbial world. And it's hard to get the facts out there unless you have backing of those facts and you can communicate them soberly. And so that's what we're trying to achieve as relates to this. But I have 10 other things we're doing concurrently as well. I mean, across the board on recovery, on disaster assistance, getting the major disaster declaration. It may be the first one in U.S. history over a text with the White House within literally 36 hours to get 100% reimbursement for folks out here. We've been working concurrently in all of these areas. We're doing executive orders as I speak as it relates to recovery and land use, dealing with speculation. And
what? Speculation and land use, because he's referring to a
right there. Leonardo DiCaprio mean. Hey, what did you say, sir?
Let him hear it again.
I don't know if he know this, but ain't nothing out there having to do with you and land use, sir. These are people that already own the land, sir. I didn't know if you know this, but that ain't yours.
Orders as I speak as it relates to recovery and land use, dealing with speculation and fraud, and trying to address issues of the Coastal Commission here and address the issue of planning permits and how we address all of the myriad of needs for small businesses, all of this in real time. Again, as the state, even though this is not a state responsibility, are to support the city and the county that are overwhelmed.
Wait, what?
It's not the state's responsibility, even though that they are all controlled by the same party in the entire state. All the way down to the county and city level is run by Democrats.
What part of this is his entire? This is his staff that he's talking about. So he's throwing his staff under the bus.
Yes.
And then he's also trying to wipe his hands clean by saying, "Well, this is not the state's responsibility. This is the responsibility of LA County."
You know, the number one sign of somebody has a narcissistic personality disorder is the lack of accountability. He refuses.
So all modern women too.
Yeah, he refuses to take accountability for his failures, and as it was stated earlier, Donald Trump talked to him about the underbrush in California in 2018. The reason they didn't get rid of it is why? Oh, the animals and all this other stuff. And now he told him that this would happen. You go to other countries. You go to other countries and you see their wood lines and their trees and their forest areas. They're pretty freaking clean. You go to California, there's so much underbrush and dead trees and dead foliage. This is going to happen every time. And Trump warned him about it, and he failed.
Yeah. Gavin Newsom's the kind of guy that thinks Arbor's Day is about harbors.
Yeah, he's not.
Remember, this is the same.
That's a really
guy.
highbrow joke for some people, and I'm not going to explain it. You look it up.
Remember, this is the same. This is the same monkey clown who, during the height of COVID, when everything was locked down in the state, by his orders, he went to his private winery and had people over.
Partied.
Oh yeah.
This is also the same guy who's related to Nancy Pelosi, who decided that during the height of COVID, she needed a hair appointment and she got a private one.
Because California Democrats all act the same, right? Speaking of which, here is the chief fire department herself saying it's not her fault either, because it's nobody's fault in this apparent lacking of diversity hire and inclusion in the department, where they were trying to hire a bunch of people based on their skin color and their sex and their sexual orientation, not the fact that they were qualified or not, or any of the other things that were possible. But yeah,
Yeah.
Let's hear it.
I want to be
So-
very clear.
Uh.
Yes, we took a $17
Okay,
million
pause right off
budget
the
cut.
top. Pause.
What is that?
Pause.
What is that?
You have to back it all the way up real quick. Now,
Okay.
I want you to listen to something. And I want you to just try in your mind, try and make a correlation to what you hear initially and see if you've heard it from anybody else. And tell me if after they say what you hear, if anything gets more akin to what they say they're going to do. Play it real quick and pause it after 2 seconds.
I want to be very, very clear.
Okay, pause.
Yes, we took a $17
I want to be very, very clear. My guess, I have not heard this before. My guess is that she's about to be not at all clear.
Yeah.
Kind of like how Kamala, let me be clear, and then what you follow is a and then Biden, come on, I'm clear, let me be clear. Let's be clear, and then nothing comes out clear. This is my assumption that every time they say let's be clear, that nothing's about to be told to you.
Yeah. Why do especially Democrat politicians hear that a lot from them? And let me be clear.
All the time.
Let me be clear.
Obama
They have
does
to do
it
it in the
Let's
Obama
be
days. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me be
All right,
clear.
let me see how clear you get.
This is how clear she's going to be.
Here we go.
And start from the beginning again. There you go.
I want to be very, very clear.
Mm.
Yes, we took a $17 million budget cut. And as we know, any budget cut would negatively impact our ability to carry out our mission.
Mm.
I want to
That's
also
clear.
clarify that I'm not a politician. I'm a public servant. It's my job as the fire chief of the Los Angeles City Fire Department to make sure that our firefighters have exactly what they need to do their jobs. And that's why I'm
Pause.
Which includes pushing forward DEI policies, and which you were probably appointed to that position because a politician decided they needed a lesbian to run the fire department.
No. Yes,
No.
true, but that's not what I'm catching here. You just admitted two things, and they are completely contrary to each other.
Yeah.
Yes, we cut the budget so that we couldn't do what we're supposed to do.
Yep.
But then you go to say, I do what we're here to do exactly what we're supposed to do. But if you can't do what you're supposed to do because you undid something helping you do what you're supposed to do, then you're not very clear, are you, on what
No.
you're supposed to do? What?
So
I want to be
who
very clear. It's not my fault. That's
But it
what
is.
she's trying to make clear to people. Is
But
it's
it
not
is.
my fault.
But you admitted it is.
Yeah.
and who's supposed to be taking responsibility for all this? The governor's not taking responsibility. The fire chief's
Neither
not
is the
taking
mayor.
responsibility. The deputy fire chief's not taking responsibility. None of the politicians that run California are taking responsibility. So who's taking the responsibility for the failures of them not being able to put out these fires?
From what I heard from libs
Trump.
on various media, it's Trump on various media platforms. It's Trump's fault.
He is
Somehow it is
president
Trump's
right
fault.
now,
He is
anyway.
not. He is
Yeah.
not.
Yeah, I
even
was
in
gonna
office.
say.
He's not even inaugurated.
No,
and it's
no,
his
no.
fault somehow.
Coy,
Yeah.
he is the president now, remember. Okay.
Yes, remember he's been the president since November.
That's
Since November.
when the
Since
election
November.
happened.
Yeah,
we
when
just
the
got
election
the
happened, he was
result.
president.
Yeah, he's been president since
People are already
November.
treating him like he's the president. Like they don't
Well,
even
they-
respond to Biden anymore. Like he did a whole
They
presser
never
today and
responded to
nobody
Biden,
cared.
though. They never responded to
Yeah.
Biden. Let's be
They don't
honest.
care. They stopped caring about Biden
When
4
Kamala
years
ran.
ago. So
Let's hear what
Wait,
this thing has to finish saying to the other thing. They both
Would
look.
be-
They look like brother and sister, don't they?
they're the same
Kinda.
person. That's,
I
It
could
might
see a
be
little bit of it.
cross-dressing.
Yeah.
So I just want to be sure that I'm up to speed. So she wants to clarify her position. Her department cut $17 million from her
Million.
budget.
Yes.
Billion?
$17 million.
$17 million from the budget. She's not a politician, but she's a public servant that is doing
Yeah.
what she can to make sure that her department has all the necessary resources in order to respond to situations like this,
Mm.
right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But
Or
she did
even
cut-
talk
did
to the
cut
water
it.
department. Yeah. Or talk to the
But she
water
did cut it.
department to make sure they had water.
Right. But she
Yeah,
did cut
gotcha.
it so that they couldn't do the job she says that they are able to do.
Exactly.
That's my confusion here. Okay. Continue, woman.
That's
Very
exactly
clear
where
so far. Yes.
talking to you today.
Uh-huh.
The Palisades fire, everybody's seen it. It is absolutely one of the most horrific natural disasters in the
Make sure to
history
say that.
Okay, you can't say it was natural because we don't know if it was natural or not. Nobody has
Hey.
stated what was the
Hey.
cause of the fire. That's your job. You're supposed to tell us if it was natural. You can't just say it claimed it was a natural disaster when it could very likely have been arson.
She's making it clear. Don't you know?
Let her
It
make
is
it clear. Let's hear her
Make
out.
it clear. Yeah, sorry.
Street
Here it
of
is.
Los Angeles. And even with an additional 100 engines, I tell you, we were not going to catch that fire. But with that being said, let me be clear.
Again.
The $17 million budget cut and elimination of our civilian positions like our mechanics did and has and will continue to severely impact our ability to repair our apparatus. So with that, we have over 100 fire apparatus out of service. And having
Well,
these
okay,
apparatus
stop.
I
I
got a question after Marlon.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Okay, look. I'm not the most patient,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm fairly patient sometimes. The only time I don't get patient is when you don't answer questions. When you don't answer a simple question, I get mad. But however, hear me out.
Mhm.
You just said you cut. You said we. You didn't say they. You said we, which means you were in on the cut.
Yes.
You okayed the cut. You had to okay the cut. And I wouldn't even dare say you probably asked for the cut to happen. So anyway, cut 17 million. Then you say it did hamper your ability to do things you need to do. Then you tell us that you are able to do the things you need to do, but you're not able to do the things you need to do. Your words, not mine.
Yeah.
Not clear. Then you say, let me be clear again. But before that, you say that even if you had 100 more trucks, you couldn't get ahead of it, only to say, let me be clear, that we are backed up 100 trucks because we couldn't repair them because of the cut you said didn't really affect anything, but did. You're not very clear about what exactly took place.
And I have another question. For a state that is known for having wildfires like this, why would you cut the fire and rescue budget for a state that's known every year to have wildfires and brush fires like this? Why would you cut the budget? Wouldn't you increase it? Wouldn't you increase the amount of firefighters you have and the amount of fire and rescue you need and increase the staff?
Right.
If you know that the state is known for having fire.
Or how about we, have what is it? The California Arboretum Society or whatever the case might be to clean the underbrush.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a lot of things they could have done.
And I have another question. When did this cut take place? What year? What was it? February? Was it last year? Right around the time where the water reservoirs weren't getting repaired and getting filled up? Was it around that time?
About that time?
That's the question I have. It's kind of weird that if it did happen at that time, they both happened at the same time. So, conspiracy theory.
Lady, I'm waiting for you to get clear. So if you could please hurry it up. You only have a few minutes left. You got a minute and 23 minutes, 25 minutes left to go. So please be clear. I want you to be clear. Let's hear you.
Proper amount of mechanics would have helped. And so it did absolutely negatively impact. I want to also be clear that I have, over the last 3 years, been clear that the fire department needs help. We can no longer sustain where we are. We do not have enough firefighters. With that, I have also requested multiple budgets, interim budgets, to show how understaffed, under-resourced, and underfunded the LEFD is. So with that, also, we have clear data that shows the LEFD needs more help. We need 62 more fire stations. These reports also show that we've had a 55% increase in overall call volume since 2010. And guess what? We're doing it with less firefighters. I was also directed to develop a plan as part of a budget reduction exercise, and that could equate to $48.8 million. And I rang the bell that these additional cuts could be very, very devastating for our ability to provide public safety. That would have resulted to 15 fire stations closing down and potentially the elimination of over 300 firefighters. Again, I want to be clear that I submitted a very large budget that will actually allow our firefighters to do their jobs. And I tell you.
Okay. Yeah. She's very clear, though. I can tell you that.
Clear-skinned.
She's very clear in using that word.
She's so white, she's transparent. Come on, that's the clarity we're looking for here. Okay, so what she admitted to is this: at the beginning, we budget cut. We are aware it hurt, but we went ahead and hired all kinds of diversity hires instead of hiring, real people that can do the job. So already you wasted the money that you were allocated. You wasted money that you could have used for something beneficial. You know you could have used 100 more vehicles, and you knew this since 2010, but you still minus more money from the budget, and you were aware that this is going to hamper you, but it doesn't really hamper you because people don't understand.
Yes.
And you're not a politician.
And another thing, if DEI was so, good, wouldn't you think they would have more firefighters?
Yeah,
Since there is a DEI requirement and they kind of lowered the standard to get firefighters on, wouldn't you think more and more people would come and they would just get onto the fire department? Would you think? I mean, I would think, hey, the fire department's hiring Snooki. Oh, shit, man, I'm going to get on the fire department.
Better job. Snooki would have done a better job.
Yeah.
Jersey Shore people would have done a better job.
Yeah.
They'd had enough hair gel to at least contribute to the resources or something.
Fire hazard. That's what.
What be this?
The overall budget for the Los Angeles Fire Department is close to $1 billion, right? It's like $819 million. They cut it by 17 million. It's not. Street services was $21 million. I wonder what they needed to cut all these things. So the things that they cut massively this year was apparently controller, aging, street lighting, city administrator offices, public works, information technology agencies, general services, sanitation, fire, and street services. And the biggest increase overall for the city's budget went to police because obviously it's LA.
Now, hear me out. If you listen to where all the generic cuts are, it all has to do with preventions.
Yeah.
You realize that? They cut a lot of preventative services. But it's weird. A lot of responsive services, but no preventative ones get spared.
Yeah.
Now I know why. We do
personnel,
know why.
Retirement. The retirement department got another $2.2 million.
See? Now I'll show you something because they tell you why. Now comes my conspiracy.
I love them. I love some conspiracy. I love some conspiracy. They're usually true.
But usually I have my own. But this one kind of introduced itself to us. They will tell you, usually, just like when Fauci said, don't forget that we could possibly have another thing popping off, and you just got to be ready for it, okay? Make sure you wear your mask. Fauci told us, right? He told us in 17, and then he came back again in 21 and said, another one might be coming. And then he came back again in 20. You might be seeing another one just popping off. Just be ready, okay? And then there's this guy who tells you this.
One last word, which is, I hope this is my last time at this podium, at least for a little while. I don't mean that in a negative sense. I mean, the only thing that would bring me back is an unexpected event in the next few days, which, as you all know, is totally possible given
The only thing that's going to bring him back to that podium is another event, which is totally possible in the next few days, as we all know. What? How do first of all, how do we all know some ridiculous event is going to take place within the next few days?
Because it's already planned.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the only.
I mean, the Savage Patriots have been saying it for the last few episodes about the next few days.
Kicking stuff off.
Yeah, something's going to be. We've been saying it. We've been saying it. They're going to kick off. They're going to ramp it up. They're going to have all this stuff going on. And it's happening because we are the oracles.
Why of all days did they choose January 19th to get rid of TikTok?
They know why.
They know why.
Yeah.
I want him to finish what he's saying because I might be lying on the man. What he might be saying is, but it's impossible. We all know that. But you got to prep for it. That's what he's going to say.
We are the greatest country in the world.
Of course, through the past years. But if it is, in fact, my last time before you, I just want to say thank you for what you guys do every day. Thank you for putting up with me. It's been an honor to be able to really try to illuminate these issues through tough probing and penetrating questioning. And I've can't say I've always enjoyed every moment up here, but I certainly have been privileged to be able to do it.
No, he didn't. I thought he was going to clarify, but no.
Okay, I want to address something. They're talking about the whole thing about the water rights usage in California, and they're owned by certain people in there. Yeah, and who is the party that controls all of California that allows that to happen?
Yeah. Hey, Marlon, I sent that video that he's talking about to you about who owns the water. It's in your Marlin.
It's gross. Nobody should be able to control that much of a natural resource like that, especially one so vital. Like I agree with you.
And it's crazy because it's not the first time we heard something about water. There was one gentleman who got on there and said that water isn't a right. I forget who said it. Because they were asking about water, and he said, "Yeah, whoever it was, that was it Nestle. It was somebody. I think it might have been. I some rich guy, and he pretty much said that having water isn't a right.
Yeah, which is ridiculous, right? There's also this other video I wanted to show. This is the date. In the same day that they're saying all these things are happening, Gavin Newsom had a special legislative session for the California Assembly so they can combat who? Donald Trump. Instead of dealing with the fires, they wanted to combat Donald Trump. And here's a reporter going after one of the members for it.
I could take a couple of questions. I do have to jump on a call here in a few minutes.
With that, I mean, with what you just mentioned and kicked off here, is now the right time to have a special legislative session on allocating money to fight Trump in a way that you could already do without a special legislative session?
So I'm here to address these wildfires. This is a historic wildfire. This is a historic event. These wildfires, as I mentioned, are going to be quite possibly some of the worst wildfires and disasters in the state and in national history.
While this wildfire is happening, and while people are trying to understand what's going on and are worried about disaster relief, worried about the ability to get homeowners insurance, your chamber gabbled into a special legislative session to prepare for Donald Trump in a way that you are already able to do without a special legislative session. So again, is now the right time for that?
So certainly our focus right now is Speaker Ashley. At this moment, my colleagues and I, we are acting with great urgency to ensure that we're providing much needed relief to Angelenos, to ensure that we understand what it's going to take for this region to recover, and to support those that have been most impacted by this disaster.
So he has no answer.
This is
Yeah, he has no answer. That's basically what the entirety of the video is that they're holding a special legislative session to allocate money to fight against Donald Trump, but didn't even address anything about the fires. And they want to take money that they already took away from the fire department in the state, and like the city budget, and use state budget funds to fight Donald Trump, who's going to be controlling federal funds, who could help Los Angeles with recovery because he's going to be in office in less than a week. That doesn't make any sense to anybody. Why you would need to do that?
Yep.
So how much is this going to cost the special counsel to fight Trump?
$1 gazillion. No, I don't know.
I mean, ballpark
millions.
Probably money that they can be giving to the people.
Or
at least
back
$17.2 million.
I was going to say, would it amount to putting that money back into the fire department so that they can, I don't know, fight fires?
Yeah, I mean,
probably
they have to care about the people first.
I'll play the first portion of this, and then I'll get into the meat and potatoes of my conspiracy theory real quick.
While 40 million Californians suffer through unprecedented drought, one billionaire couple owns a massive share of the state's water system, seized in a series of secretive meetings 2 decades ago. That system was largely paid for by the very taxpayers whose water these billionaires hold hostage. Urban water systems are desperate for water, but in 2023, they'll receive just 5% of what they requested from the state. The Resnicks are the biggest farmers in California. As of 2007, they owned 4 San Francisco's worth of farmland, and nearly half of Americans buy at least one of their products. Their pistachios, their pomegranate juice, their mandarins, their flowers. It's all under one massive umbrella, the Wonderful Company.
And they're not that wonderful. So let's talk about that. Yeah. Now, isn't the Democrats the ones that say they're against the rich?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you are run by a Democrat in the state that you're in, which is what they are, which is California, and the Californian government decides to be okay with you owning that much land and having it pretty much a monopoly,
yeah,
wouldn't it be efficient to say then that the Democrats that are at least in California are happy to continue making millionaires and rich people? Okay,
Yeah.
so then you're not against the rich. You just want to be part of this trickle of their money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just be
Because
honest
this is what it
about
really
it.
comes down to is that
Yes, it
these
is all it
people
comes
lobby
down
them
to.
and pay them money. They also get taxes from all of their sales, their businesses, and everything else like that. So it benefits the state of California to have a large corporation stay in California for their taxes. So this happens to be one of the biggest farmlands in California. So obviously they're going to take preference and priority over anybody else in terms of water rights usage, even though it's disgusting and it's controlled by the Democrats, who are apparently environmentalists, right? They still allow this to happen in a one-party controlled state. So that's on them. Like you can get mad at these people for playing the game, but they allow them to play the game. You know what I mean?
No, exactly. So my conspiracy is this. There is a push for, and this is by I believe 100% by Gavin Newsom, to find a way to procure extra funds to, one, pad his pockets as usual, but also to do it right under the noses of all of the population of California and have them be okay with it to the point where they approve of it. Now, in 2022, there was a push for this ULI, the Curtis Infrastructure Initiative. Now, if you're wondering what this might be, this is what we have covered before, which is called
Smart
a
city, right?
smart city.
Yeah.
Now, the smart city crazy part of it is where they want to put the smart city. Now, I managed to find the map.
Does it happen to be in Malibu and the Palisades?
Just take a gander upon this one right here.
Oh,
If I
man.
can find it here. Hang on.
Of course.
Okay, so here. All right. Now, let's take a zoom. A zoom.
Oh, yeah.
There we go.
Oh, it just happens to be right there on the coast.
Right in the
right where the
and I
Palisades
mean
area is.
perfectly placed right where all of the fires are happening right now. Now, there's talk of it happening and kicking off and being done in 2028.
Hey, Marlon, I got a question. Is that Maui on that other dot?
Yes, Maui's on that, right?
And Marlon, did you hear also that in that Palisades area, area, that there was a huge lithium deposit?
Yes,
in that
lithium
area?
deposit there.
I don't know. You know, it
North
sounds kind of like
Carolina.
Maui. Yeah, I mean,
So
Now,
it seems oddly coincidental.
The other map is this one here.
And isn't California trying to push for all electric vehicles by 2030?
Yes, they are.
Yes, they are.
And y'all mentioned lithium deposits in that area.
Get as close as we can here. That's 500%. Now, you see that right there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, the fire started right about here, and then it spread to here. And if you look at one of the maps that they showed you before, there was a line that went right down through the city, right where all the houses were. Ironically, that's exactly where the hub of everything that they hope to happen is going to happen. Now, y'all might say, well, that's pushing it. It's stretching it. It just coincidentally that happened. However, if that were the case, it was coincidence. You have a whole lot more area in California that's way drier. I'm just saying. Secondarily, the padding of his pockets come from this mindset. We came across his website for the fires. Not sure y'all are familiar with this website.
Yes,
I am. It is called the California Fire Facts. Now, if you go to donations, you get to donate $5, $25, $50, $100, $250, $500, or $1,000, or any amount you wish. Now, when you do donate, there is a certain company that it rotates through.
Oh, I know.
Who is that right there?
Act Blue, right?
Interesting.
Yes.
All right. Now, Act Blue is the number one person that they use every time, the Democrats, for when they're doing what? Donations to the campaign or to the DNC. Now, y'all might say, well, it doesn't mean that they're only doing that. You know how you have to try and avoid the very appearance of impropriety? I don't think they got that memo, and I don't think they're trying to avoid the appearance. This is my theory. Gavin Newsom, and it happened here in Wenatchee, by the way, so that's why I know this happened. Gavin Newsom has signed a deal with this particular company that is running all of the 15-minute city building plans.
Yeah.
He signed a deal with them that will allow him to get a kickback for the places that he allows them to build with. Secondarily, their deal is you have to make sure that these places are available. The best way to make it available is to raise it, but you can't just go in and willy-nilly buy places up, which is why in his little speech he said land use. It is not coincidental. He is telling you the same way they went in and purchased up land in Maui. It's the same way they're trying to do it here under the guise of 15-minute cities. Now, all you need to know is this: 15-minute cities are just modern day projects. That's all they are. It's a place to keep you where they can keep you isolated and know exactly your ins and outs and monitor everything you're going. However, they can't just do that. They have to make it sound good. But you can't also just take people's land, so you have to burn it to the ground. You raise it. Now, I've also seen stories of people trying to get back to their land, and they can't. They are now putting off. Just kind of like in, what's that other place? Maui.
Same thing.
Okay, so this is not a fire by happenstance or just accidental. This is planned. I am saying it right now, and you can quote me as saying it. Gavin Newsom purposefully allowed the facilities to run out of water, allowed the debris to pile up, because mind you, this has been planned since 2022, these smart cities. So he's had tons of time to allow all kinds of things to take place. Now he set up his website for you to contribute to your own demise, people in Los Angeles and people throughout America, if you want to help. He is giving you the option to pay him, not for the fire, to pay him to do exactly what he's been doing, which is turn a blind eye and then say, I don't know what's happening. Mind you, the governor, he was there for the budget cuts. They can't do it without it. This is not like the president.
And on another thing, Marlon, you said by 2028, and as everybody knows, the Olympics are going to be in California, LA area in 2028. So in order to help clean it up, because you know the homeless problem and the slums and the ghettos and everything in California, this is another way to drive everyone out of LA. They can go in there and start building these 15-minute cities, smart cities, whatever you want to call them, to make LA look beautiful, you know, and then they can control everything of the people that come in and out, the people that live in those cities, and they can have their little Olympics.
But it doesn't make any sense to me that Gavin would do that, because he did that once with China already.
Yes, but he only did what's cleaned up.
Yeah,
he didn't remove.
Yeah, and then you just let him right back in.
Yeah.
So
this is more of a permanency because he's trying to create the facilities.
Gotcha.
Now, if you watch anywhere that has 15-minute cities or tried to have 15-minute cities, every time they try to implement it, 15-minute cities have two very important factors. They have to control your transportation because it's a government-operated movement. And they also want to control the timing of which you get to and from places, which is why they set it to that. So they know how long it'll take you to get somewhere. So in case like they have another pandemic and you have a lockdown in a 15-minute city, you only have so long to get back to your house otherwise. And we know you can get back to your house in this time frame because we built it like that.
So that you could, The interesting thing about this, it also piles on. It's like if it's not a conspiracy theory, at the very least, it is a cascading failure of responsibility by the government of California. Period. From all the way from the city to the county to the governor's office have all made failures of policy that has led up to this fire, including to the fact that just months before, the insurance companies pulled out of California because they couldn't raise the rates because California passed a regulation saying that they could cap where premiums were. They couldn't raise the premiums up because they were in a high risk area, and they kept telling them, hey, we cannot stay here if you keep refusing to do any of the corrective measures so we can insure these people. And they said, pound sand. And so they pounded sand and got out of California. And then all of a sudden, here comes these massive fires in the middle of January, like at the beginning of January, by the way, not even in the summer. Then blame it on climate change makes no sense.
Yeah.
Because that's what they did. They started saying, well, this is what happens when you have climate change, not from bad policies or any other things that we did. It's not our fault. It's nature. Nature did it. It's out of our hands.
Well, it is climate change. It went from December, where it's kind of cold, to January, where it's less cold. So the climate did kind of change.
Right.
So I don't know. Yeah, I'll give them that. I mean, but
These politicians want to blame the insurance companies, but it's not their fault. They're not responsible for that. They are.
Right.
But I heard that they arrested climate change too the other day.
Oh.
They put him in cuffs. It was on the video. Climate change got arrested.
that reminds me I mean, people, I used to watch South Park a lot. I was a massive fan. Now, I remember when they were talking about how it's coming, global warming was coming, and they were literally running from global warming into buildings and stuff, and the global warming was outside, and they thought everything was going to pot. Now, mind you, nothing had changed. But in their mind, they were so concerned about global warming, they were hiding in schools. And Randy got the idea because his son was still out there. He was going to go out and brave global warming so that, people could be safe. He got his parka on and he dressed, but outside was as warm as can be because it was dead of summer. So he's like walking out, but he's so stuck on the fact that it's global warming that he was willing to kill himself. This is how stupid these people think you might be, because you'll buy into their whole hoax. This has been going on since Al Gore.
Yeah, remember, it was climate cooling. It was a global cooling before it. Then it was the ozone, right?
Yeah.
And then it was global warming, and then it was climate change. They always change the name of whatever the thing is, but it always remains the same. I remember Al Gore telling us back in the early 2000s that LA was going to be underwater, and then we wouldn't have to worry about fires anymore.
Yeah,
I do remember that.
So
I've gotten to the point to where, and many others have gotten to the point to whatever comes out the mainstream's mouth about anything that happens to this country, just don't believe it. Don't believe it.
Yeah.
A lot of it's just propaganda and lies, and they'll tell you anything because a lot of Americans will believe anything their television tells them. And they sit up there and tell you bold-faced lies, and it just doesn't make sense. If it doesn't make sense to you when they're talking, if you think about it and you're like, wait a minute, that means they're lying. Because if it doesn't make sense, but they do it right in front of our face because of a lot of Americans, low IQ, remedial Americans will just believe it.
If it doesn't make sense, be guaranteed it's making dollars somewhere. I do want to address one other thing.
I was going to say one more thing about climate change real quick before we moved on from that. They also don't never mention the fact that the poles are shifting ever in the climate change models.
Well, the poles do switch. You remember the poles went from Kamala,
and they're happening right now.
No,
I meant the literal magnetic poles of the Earth are shifting.
My
bad. I'm not even going to talk about that. You know where I stand. On
I thought
propaganda.
that she was dancing on the poles, but that's different.
Propaganda.
She's used to the poles
and pole dancings.
I do want to show you something about the 15-minute cities real quick, and also remind you of something. If you think this fire was bad, you try to imagine a fire in a 15-minute city. Just
oh jeez.
Just listen to me carefully. Think about a fire in a 15-minute city. In about 15 minutes, gone. I'm talking about poof, goodbye, everybody and your cat, all gone in 15 minutes. Now, I'm going to read this to you. This is their plan, okay? In North America, various cities are implementing visions, plans, and programs based on 15-minute communities. Northwest Portland adopted 2030. What's that number? Anyway, 2030 complete neighborhoods with a goal of providing 80% of residents with access to basic needs by walking, cycling, and transit. Ottawa urban intensification plan to create a community of 15-minute neighborhoods. South Houston, West Los Angeles. Unanimously adopted a livable communities initiative aimed at solving our housing crisis, while delivering the beauty and convenience of a 15-minute city. Furthermore, California constructed its 2023 infill infrastructure grant criteria in accordance with the following goals: a quarter-mile walkable distance, mixed use densification with broadband access, and affordable
Mhm.
housing with rent control.
Rent control. Interesting. So that brings me up to the insurance point. It's easy to get people to not rebuild if they don't have insurance or money enough to rebuild the place that they
Yes.
lived in. And and it's not the celebrities that I worry about. It's the legacy people that have been in LA since the 60s that had homes when they got it when it was super cheap, and now
Yeah.
everything's $1 million plus in all of these places, right? They're never going to be able to afford to rebuild there. They're done.
Right.
Yeah.
Now imagine them coming to you because now land use, we can't use it anymore because all those fires really scorched the earth so badly, we will have to do things differently.
Mm-hmm.
Now, hear me out. Again, my conspiracy theory. They introduced to you the idea of a 15-minute city. And this is where we're going to go. Now, the good thing is, remember, we had a housing issue.
Mm-hmm.
So now we can solve the housing problem. And you won't have to pay as much because now we have what?
Rent
It is
control.
rent control. And
Yeah.
now 3 in 5 people favor living in a walkable community. Half of millennials and baby boomers want to live in a walkable community. And by a 4 to 1 margin, office tenants prefer. So they have now created the need. You see, this is a lot of people don't want to talk about this part too. California has done something very good. They're smart. You raise everything to a point where nobody can live no more. So now you've created the need for better money housing, right? Okay, good.
Mhm.
Then you limit the kinds of jobs people can get there. So now you need a job market. You create homelessness. Everybody needs a home. Now you also have transportation issues. Look at this. It's a fix for all our problems. All you have to do is give up the land you might have had before this fire.
Yep.
And we can implement a nice spot for you. No more mortgage payments, no more this, no more that. And you can go, you don't even need a car, kind of like Cuba. You don't even need a car. We will provide everything for you. All you have to do is just agree to sign your land use over to the government.
Yep.
Because this fire
Yep.
has done so much damage. And we got you. Now
So-
watch and see if I'm wrong and see if that's not what happens within the next 2 years. I'm giving it 2.
So
Watch.
what I'm hearing from you, Marlon, is this is the government going, I'm being helpful.
Helpful.
I'm helping.
And-
Yeah.
And what
I'm
people have to
helping.
understand, and what people have to understand when it comes to government ran housing and smart cities and stuff, don't think you're going to live in a 2,000 square foot house. You're going to live in a house that they're going to give you just enough, just what you need. So if you're a family of 2, guess what you get? You're going to get what the government deems as necessary for you. All right, you can get a
Right.
kitchen, 1 bathroom, 2 bedrooms, and 700 square foot house. And all these houses are going to be on top of each other, one next to the other, on top of each other. They've been showing us this stuff in movies for years. And don't think
Stay in the pods and eat the bugs.
And if there's enough uproar, the government giveth. What can they do?
Oh, I'm
you
sure we
guys
could
don't-
buy stocks.
You guys don't want to listen to us. You don't want to follow the rules. The rules say you need to be in your house at this time with a curfew. The rules say this. The rules say that. You don't want to follow it. They shut you down because they're in control over it. You gave up all your rights. You just gave them up for convenience.
Yeah.
And government
Yeah.
efficiency, just to save a
So-
little money, you're willing to give them all up, and the government could take over and shut it down anytime they
Boom.
want.
Boom.
Right. So the people that are complaining the fact that this couple owns the majority of the water in California, who's the one that sold them the water rights?
Precisely.
The government
Precisely.
of California. Who is the one that drove out the insurance companies in California? The government of
Government did it.
California.
Mhm.
They're the ones that did this to you all, and they want you to blame these billionaires in the insurance companies for all the problems. Like, no, it was mismanagement by them, or it was like you said, it's a massive conspiracy for the smart city. It
Yeah.
could be all of those things at once. All of these things can be true at the same time. At the
Well,
end of the
and
day,
it
the
is.
government of California is responsible for this.
And it is very true at the same time. But of course, you can't, like I said, you can't just trick people by tricking them. You have to create the need. It is
Yep.
no different than what they did during the sneezy season, right? No different. They had to create for you the scare, the fear, the worry. And then
Yep.
once the worry took over, you could implement the fix. Once you have the fix, everybody will be fluctuating for the fix, not realizing that the fix was a way to unfix you.
Yep.
The fix was your destruction, but you took it. That is exactly what they're doing now. Now, I'm not saying that every blue city contains retarded people, but nearly every retarded person that's not actually mentally handicapped lives in a blue city.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
And what people have to
I get
understand,
that.
especially when it comes to these smart cities and these 50-minute cities, you know, it's all part of the Green New Deal. And we keep talking about the Green New Deal. This is all part of that. And you've got to understand that these people are always throwing out the term carbon footprint. Carbon footprint is going to start with vehicles. They're going to get rid of those in the 15-minute cities. Eventually, it's going to be the human carbon footprint because they talk about that also. So it's going to get to the point you can only go out so far. Oh, you met your limit for the week. Guess what you got to do the rest of the week? You got to stay in your house because you reached your limit on your carbon footprint. And then if you try to leave your house, since we have control of all your money, we have control of everything, your phone, we have control of your debit, we have control of all of it because you're on our network. So we can control it and we can get into it anytime we want. If you go outside, guess what's not going to work? Nothing.
Yeah.
So you guys got to be very careful what you wish for because once the government gets their hand in it, that's it.
Bean, that's logical. You have to understand you are using logic.
Yeah.
These people are banking on the folks that they're selling this to not use logic. And let's be honest, the ones that buy it obviously are not implementing logic. Okay, like we said, somebody's going to come up with the excuse that just because it's Act Blue doesn't mean. But however, I guarantee you that every one of them, because Elon helped, they think Elon is involved in this, and this, right? But you use the same theory on them, all of a sudden it's different. Like I said, logic escapes them. It completely escapes them, especially when you know that this particular thing has a track record with the Democrats. Come on now. And you use them instead of saying, oh, look, we will use an actual nonprofit location that's actually separate from both Republican and Democrat. You don't find that, how did Umar say? Don't you find that suspicious? Don't you find that suspicious?
Here's another logic point that everybody seems to miss is that everybody in the United States has the illusion of owning property. Nobody actually owns any of their property. As long as you have to pay the state to keep said property, you never owned it in the first place.
Yeah, you don't, and you're right. You don't own your car. Technically, you don't own it. You don't own your house. You don't own anything because anything that has to be registered with a government entity, you're giving government ownership of that. It's a loaner to you. They can come and take that anytime they want, technically.
Who keeps the titles and deeds?
Yep.
The government does. You never owned it to begin with.
Common sense ain't so common no more, Arlene. That's for sure.
They like big zaddy government.
I'm curious to see how this all pans out. However, there are also some big things that are also going to be kind of coming to take a little bit of a spotlight off the fire coming up, which is like what you showed in that video with that Indian dude can't answer the question. They're planning to do a whole lot more. And like we said a couple of weeks ago now, their plan is to drop as many sticks in his fire as they possibly can. So by the time he assumes office, he has so many things to deal with. They'll use that and say, see, he hasn't taken care of the promises that he made before he came in here. Blibbity, blabbity, blibbity, blabbity, blue. However, I think what may end up happening is say, well, hey, it's your state problem. I'll send you the money. You deal with it. And be done. I hope that's what he does. Now, the other thing I think we need to talk about is the price of eggs. Because it's starting to be a different thing is popping in. And I think I don't know if you haven't seen it, but I went to the store the other day and eggs were in scarce demand. We're in high demand, but they're in scarce availability. And what was on the refrigerator was kind of weird to me. It said there is a outbreak of bird flu and swine flu, and it's affecting the availability of eggs.
Right, because they're calling.
Now, remember, if that is if you look at TikTok and Instagram, the talking points for the left right now is this. I thought Trump was going to bring the price down on eggs. I thought y'all wanted cheap gas. How's that happening? I mean, it's stupid, but I think that's by design. I think the next thing to jump out here will be, see, he hasn't changed anything. And when that happens, they have a narrative and they're going to keep putting sticks in his fire so that this last 4 years of his presidency will be marred by inability to act properly because they will be the #1 roadblock in his way. That's what I see.
Well, it's not just that. They're going to say that even though we've been in a recession for the last 2 years, they're going to say, "Oh, the recession's here
caused the
because Donald
recession.
Trump is in office."
Mhm.
Yeah.
They
But
got a
we've already
lot
been in
coming
one for
down.
2 years.
They got a lot coming down, and I think, look, you have to look. Be honest, okay? They're good at what they do.
Yeah.
These Democrats are not pushovers. They're not. They're retarded, but they're not stupid. I know some very smart retarded people. They're that way, but look, they know exactly how to create chaos. They are agents of chaos.
Yeah.
They're not amateurs at this. They've been doing this since slavery.
Yeah.
They're good at it. So I can see it being successful. All I can hope is this. When he gets in there, he stops caring about people's feelings and just does what has to be done. That's all I hope. You just forget the narrative. Don't even fight the narrative. Ignore the narrative, President. Is ignore it. Let them say what they got. They're going to say it anyway. I know it might be tough for you, and you're kind of like me. You can't see stupid slide. You gotta say something about it. Understand the draw. I do. Trust me, I do. But in this case, you gotta ignore them, put your head down, and do what you gotta do. Let their rules be damned. We don't care about what they say and how they view us. Whatever. That's why I say we stop engaging with them. Think as they want, however they want to speak. We don't care. You want to go mutilate your children? Mutilate your children. Don't expect me to have to do that to mine, though. I really don't care what they do anymore. And the reason I don't care anymore is because you can't stop them anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, just stop trying to get through to them. We've said it many times on the show. Just stop. There's no need. There's no need to do it back and forth. There's no need to convince them of your point. Just let them be. Let them.
Well, my thing though is I don't have to pay for any of their nonsense.
Yeah.
No, then don't.
Well, I mean,
they already presented the income tax removal and all that stuff. So withhold your money.
Yeah.
Yep. Well,
There are ways we can fight rebelliously the same way they do.
Yeah.
We just don't want to do it because we think it's too extreme. I think we're past the too extreme point.
Yeah, we are.
And this is a point where we have to fight fire with fire. If you see you want the change you say you want the reaction you say you want, they don't hold nothing back. Why are we?
Right.
We've always been the one to take the high road. I'm done taking high roads with anybody, and anytime they cross me, I'm calling them exactly what I think they are. I'm not pulling no punches for nobody anymore. I don't care about their feelings. I don't care if you're on the verge of suicidal thoughts. I don't give a damn. If you put yourself there, like that firefighter, maybe you shouldn't have put yourself in that position. Hopefully, you might find a therapist that can help you, but it won't be me. And if you do go to a therapist, please blame me for whatever thought process has put you there. I'll be happy to own it. In fact, I might make a T-shirt with your face on it and celebrate your demise, because I'm sick and tired of y'all, the left, and your nasty ways and your disgusting thought process and expecting people to kowtow. I am done personally. I'm done with that. I ain't got no time for y'all. So
we don't associate.
We might be talking about swine flu and disease X next coming, because I'm thinking that's probably going to hear another, like that dude said, something in the next couple of days. I wouldn't be surprised if by Wednesday or Thursday you hear another thing drop, and it would have to do with a health scare that will keep people from showing up to the inauguration.
Yeah, we also got to say that the FBI has come out and said there's no credible threats to Inauguration Day. So I would expect
there's going to be a threat to inauguration.
That means something's going to happen.
Something big, a bomb, something's going to pop off. Watch. Just watch.
So if the FBI is saying it, then I'm going to say the opposite of whatever they're saying.
Just stay home the best you can. Avoid big gatherings. Yeah, we already know Donald Trump won. We don't need to go to a rally to appreciate that. So hey, he won. Let's wait for January 20th. Just stay home, take care of your family, because these people are diabolical, man. They are diabolical. And they are willing to do anything and everything, as we stated on this show multiple times, and we've seen it throughout the last few years. They're willing to do anything and everything to just either keep him out of office or disrupt his term.
Period. That sounds good, but there are states now that are rejecting cash. There are places now rejecting cash payments. So
and remember, here's Coy's legal advice: do not carry large bills with you at any point in time, because there's such thing as civil asset forfeiture, and you will lose your money.
There you go. They've thought of everything, people. they have. Like I said, you got to give them their props when they do it. They did it right this time. I mean, when I say right, for their ends, they know what they're doing. So,
but Marlon, I will say this: the beauty of what they're doing now is that I believe that a lot more Americans are awakened to it. We still got that fringe of dummies, like the low IQ remedial, smooth brains out there. But I see that a lot more Americans are seeing what's going on, and they're questioning it. And that's all we need. The more Americans that start questioning the narrative, start asking questions, and stop going along with just go along to get along because you're scared of what might happen, that's where we lose. We need to be out here, call it out when call a wrong or wrong. Don't just go along with this crap and be defiant. They tell you to go in your house. I'm not going to my house. I'm not wearing a mask. I'm not doing none of that. None of it.
Point blank. Period. Point blank. So we'll be back Wednesday. There's a lot to pick from, but we'll select one by Tuesday night. Don't worry about it. And always know that there'll be something that we've thought of that probably most other podcasts have not thought of. That's just our MO. And we usually are not ones to brag about predictions, but dang, are we good at them? And sometimes it's not always happy to be right, but man.
Yeah.
And you can go back and look at our predictions. I'm just saying, we're not Nostradamus or nothing, but we read tea leaves pretty good. I mean, we do have the Asian on board, so our tea leaf rating is on point. Okay, you ain't gonna be doing opium better than us. I'll tell you that much. But we'll catch you guys come Wednesday, and we will chat more about what's going on in current affairs within our good country, USA. Mr. Lee,
like, share, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you Wednesday.
Peace.